Chapter 12. Are Humans Being Grown and Harvested? In my 2019 book and audiobook, The Pleiades and Our Secret Destiny, I wrote the following. If these veils were not firmly ingrained in our minds, we would be free and already part of a galactic society of peace and prosperity. Free energy, interstellar travel, teleportation, instant healing, and possibly even time travel would not be mocked as impossible, but would be considered normal, or at least worthy of research. The problem with that is that then planet Earth would no longer be a place where souls come to balance out negative karma. It would no longer be a place of harvesting a select few every couple of thousand years. So there is a positive purpose to hiding the greater truths from us, one of them being that it is our task as individuals to regain them. What? Did this author just say humans are harvested? Yes, he did. And if you look at the big picture, it doesn't sound all that crazy. Charles Darwin tells of a process of natural selection and survival of the fittest. Religion tells us that only the pure reach heaven. Can you see how both of these stories essentially refer to a process of selection? End quote from the book. The idea that humans are cropped to be grown and harvested can seem scary or inspiring, depending on your viewpoint. Just like the image you just heard can appear either scary or beautiful, depending on viewpoint and context. The concept of harvest is scary when it's portrayed like in the 1999 movie The Matrix, where humans are artificially grown and their energy harvested like batteries. It is inspiring when we imagine it as kind of a game show where we do our best to, quote-unquote, get selected. One is what I call the Gnostic point of view. The other is the Abrahamic point of view. So, is life on Earth like a contest where you go through different tests and levels? Is that why we have such a fascination with shows like American Idol or sporting competitions? Or is it more of a conspiracy where we are caught on a prison planet? Or is it neither? It's wise to consider every possibility. A mind that fixes itself on one answer and no longer entertains other possibilities loses awareness. Our most famous ancient scriptures seem to hint at the possibility that we are grown and harvested. The most famous example is the story of Noah and the flood, which involved keeping the best seed alive while destroying the rest. The Bible says it is going to happen again at the end of the age. Jesus kept speaking about fields and harvest until finally, in Matthew chapter 13, verses 36 to 39, he explained, "Then he left the crowd and went into the house. His disciples came to him and said, 'Explain to us the parable of the weeds in the field.' He answered, 'The one who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the people of the kingdom. The weeds are the people of the evil one, and the enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the harvesters are angels.'" According to this, the purpose of life on earth is to grow humans and then harvest their souls. In this context, it's interesting to note that across many cultures, death is often portrayed as a being holding a sickle, such as the Grim Reaper in my culture. And the idea is not limited to Abrahamic religion. Buddhist sources say this about enlightenment. Buddhism of the harvest. The Buddhism directed toward the salvation of those who received the seeds of Buddhahood in their lives through the practice of Buddhism in their past experiences. The process by which the Buddha leads people to enlightenment may be divided into 3 stages, called sowing, maturing, and harvesting." End quote. Is that to say that if I achieve the enlightenment, that I am ripe for harvesting? And what if this has gone on for many ages? If you recall my books on Atlantis, there are accounts of many civilizations having come and gone over the last hundreds of thousands of years. Mythology tells us of many human and human-like creatures being created and destroyed. Some, such as those of the Mayans, the Egyptians, and the Sumerians, speak of a few specimens being saved before the rest were discarded in global cataclysmic destruction. So is Earth merely a laboratory for growing quality humans? And if it's true that we are being grown and harvested, is it as food for an alien race? Or is it to join a heavenly realm as worthy members? Big difference. I don't know the answer to these questions. Because I am a happy person, I prefer to believe that life is school, and those who learn its lessons move up to the next level in the afterlife. It's like job training. Then, in the afterlife, you get the job. That's pretty long job training, isn't it? This belief is true to me based on everything I have read and experienced. I don't believe we are food for aliens, at least not our souls. Even if it were not true that life is a school, it is a useful thing to believe because it ensures a personal investment in growth. If I believed that my destiny is to be eaten by some alien, it all wouldn't matter. You know that some schools of thought actually believe in this? Carlos Castaneda, a best-selling and very popular shamanic author of the 1970s to 1990s, believed that we are destined to be eaten up after we die, unless we achieve certain spiritual powers to avert it at the moment of death. I read the books as a teenager, but was never happy with their pessimistic outlook. Sadly, Castaneda's fame ended when, in the late 1990s, several of his companions were found dead at different places, having committed suicide. That's a good example of how pursuing negative belief systems usually ends in negative results. No surprise there. If I will imagine anything negative, it has to be to my benefit. I will imagine that my negative emotions, fear and hate, are food for negative beings. That helps me steer clear of those emotions. Ridiculously optimistic beliefs attract beneficial health, wealth, and well-being into your life. So live your life as if a harvest is coming and you would like to be chosen, if that gives your life context and purpose. But if it doesn't empower you, if it puts you under pressure or makes you obsess about perfection or even feel guilty when you make a mistake, then drop the belief. Beliefs are not set in stone. They are vehicles to get you from one place to another. So when is the next harvest due? That doesn't matter. This whole thing about end times and last days seems like an ego preoccupation to me. All predicted dates for the end of the world have turned out to be false and new ones made every year. So what's the point? Your true self just wants to enjoy today with no worry of tomorrow. It doesn't want to prepare for the worst by stocking up on supplies and reading doomsday materials. It wants to live in the trust that all is well. It's the ego that eventually is going to die, so it naturally is worried about anything. But your existence never dies. Abide in your essence, and all will always be well. Here is another optimistic thought. Winning the game of life and moving on up to the next level is easy. Be loving. That's not too much to ask, right?